If we circle all the way back and have a look at the very root cause of disease, there's a very good chance that leaky gut or intestinal permeability may be a culprit. What's up guys, my name is Lucas and welcome back to another Boost Your Biology video. Today I'm going to discuss what leaky gut is, clear symptoms of leaky gut, and also some potential solutions and treatment protocols that can help one to combat this debilitating state. So for those of you who are brand new to my channel, my mission is to bring you guys the most cutting edge health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. So please like this video, hit that subscribe button below, and if you have any questions or comments throughout the video, feel free to leave them below as I do aim to respond to each and every single one. The information depicted in this presentation is purely for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare professional before making any changes to your lifestyle or routine. This is not medical advice. So the very first thing we need to explore is, what is leaky gut? Leaky gut is simply when the lining of our intestines become damaged or leaky, and it's very important to keep our intestinal lining sealed, as this regulates which compounds, proteins, particles get into the bloodstream and monitors basically which chemicals should be kept out of the bloodstream as well. So the end result of leaky gut is that we get compounds and molecules and proteins that slip through the gut barrier and enter into the bloodstream, which can then trigger your immune system and mount an immune-mediated inflammatory response, which can lead to a number of health issues. So you can see in this diagram, it clearly depicts the differences between a healthy gut versus a leaky gut. You can see the intestinal mucosal cells. These are known as the epithelial cells. And you can see the tight junction in between them. They actually monitor and regulate which compounds slip through into the bloodstream versus which ones are kept out. So you can see a healthy gut has strong intestinal tight junction barrier versus a leaky gut, which has compromised junction integrity, and also it affects nutrient absorption as well. So here are the key symptoms of leaky gut. The first one is autoimmune disorders. Many autoimmune disorders actually stem back to a leaky gut or compromised gut barrier integrity. Compounds that can help to heal the gut, which I'll explore very shortly, can actually help to eliminate many of these autoimmune disorders and also help to improve one's symptoms and issues with that disease state. Secondly, we have migraines and headaches. That's common amongst those that suffer from leaky gut. That's sort of related to histamine release and also microglial activation in the brain. We also have sinus problems or a blocked stuffy nose. That's a common issue. We have food sensitivities, which can actually lead to leaky gut. So sort of a 180 degree sort of impact there. We also see many skin disorders such as acne and other skin problems related to leaky gut. We also see tiredness and fatigue or adrenal fatigue. And that is because leaky gut can impair our ability to absorb key nutrients. With inadequate supply of nutrients, we cannot produce the hormones and the neurotransmitters that we need to feel energetic, vibrant, and healthy. We also see weight issues, so this can be related to compromised insulin sensitivity and also poor microbiota and gut bacteria as well. We also see constipation or diarrhea. That can be either or alternating. Gastroesophageal reflux disease or reflux, that's related to SIBO. And then we also can see anxiety and depression, and that's related to, again, impaired absorption of nutrients, compromised ability to detoxify heavy metals, toxins getting into the bloodstream and then passing through the blood-brain barrier. Many facets there. In addition, we have joint pain and inflammation. Arthritis can actually be traced back to a leaky gut in many situations. So that's obviously something to keep a lookout. So what causes leaky gut? I've already sort of discussed a few ones, but I want to dive deeper into the main causes of leaky gut. There are many medications, and I'm not someone who's fully against the use of pharmaceutical medications. My dad is a pharmacist. I had the choice to study pharmacy or become a pharmacist. Instead, I chose the natural path. I'm a qualified naturopath now. In terms of medications, certain antibiotics can wipe out beneficial bacteria in our gut, and that can lead to an overgrowth of bad bacteria, which can then trigger leaky gut. In addition, you see many reflux medications such as Somac, Nexium, and other proton pump inhibitors, which have been associated with intestinal hyperpermeability. So long-term use of these medications should be warranted. Again, this is not medical advice. I'm just presenting information. In addition, we see NSAIDs such as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, so things that are used to treat injuries or joint issues or soft tissue injuries. NSAIDs can actually damage the gut lining. We know that stress and lifestyle habits such as chronically elevated cortisol and a chronically elevated sympathetic state can actually damage the intestinal lining. And that is because cortisol can actually exert a deleterious effect on the ability of these intestinal cells to regenerate. So it can actually block the regeneration of our intestinal cells. We know that environmental toxins can also compromise gut barrier integrity, such as BPA, pesticides, glyphosate, Roundup. There's many studies to demonstrate this. In addition, we also have the number one dietary culprit, which is gluten. Even though one may not be full celiac, they may not have any sort of strict intolerance to gluten. Certain people respond negatively to gluten and can actually affect the overall gut barrier integrity. So just keep a lookout if you notice by reducing gluten intake, you see a reduction in your leaky gut symptoms. In addition, we see processed food. Obviously, high inflammatory omega-6 foods can impair the inflammatory balance in the gut. And then mineral deficiencies such as zinc. So zinc carnosine is perhaps one of the most effective tools or nutrients that we can use to combat leaky gut. I'll get stuck into many of the potential treatments and protocols to help offset and reduce leaky gut. So the very first one is BPC 157, which stands for Body Protective Compound 157. I've spoken about this on my channel. You guys know that I love BPC 157, and you can see in this study here it says stress in gastrointestinal tract and stable gastric pentadecapeptide BPC 157. Finally, do we have a solution? And basically what this study highlights is that BPC 157 exerts a potent anti-inflammatory action in the gut and can help to repair and regenerate these intestinal cells to help offset leaky gut. And many people that have used BPC 157 have noticed much better quality of their stools, reduced bloating, reduced gas, reduced cramping, and generally are able to actually digest foods that they no longer were, or that they thought they could never handle, such as dairy or gluten. So I know people that have been able to heal their gut so much with BPC 157 that they actually don't need to eliminate these food groups anymore, which is ultimately what we want. We don't want to have to be on such a restrictive diet that it makes going out for dinner such a challenge. When you're ordering at the table and you're saying, you're asking the waiter or waitress, look, I can't have this, this, and this. I can't have potato, this, starch, whatever. Our ultimate goal is to heal the gut, be able to tolerate these foods so that we can enjoy the food that we eat. BPC 157 can be found in the video description below. I've got a link to a product there. In terms of dosages, between 250 micrograms to 500 micrograms, not milligrams, micrograms seems to be beneficial. I personally use about 250 micrograms once a week or so orally. So, and that's the other good thing is that BPC 157 can be consumed orally because it's made in our gut and is bioavailable even when we take it in capsule form, whereas most peptides, they actually get degraded and broken down so that they're not active. So BPC 157 is very unique in that regard. The next leaky gut fix that I had on my list was Cordyceps Mushroom. Now, Cordyceps Mushroom, you know how much I'm a fan of Cordyceps Mushroom in terms of its energizing effects, adaptogenic qualities, brain enhancing effects. So Cordyceps is a medicinal mushroom that's found across many forms of medicine, but primarily traditional Chinese medicine. And if you have a look at this study here, it says Cordyceps sinensis preserves intestinal mucosal barrier and may be an adjunct therapy in endotoxin-induced sepsis in rat model, a pilot study. Cordyceps sinensis, which shares similar constituents to Cordyceps militaris, can actually help to exert an anti-inflammatory effect in the gut and help to regenerate these intestinal cells. And like many other mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, they do exert some degree of antioxidant effect and improve glutathione production. So Cordyceps mushroom can be utilized to help regenerate the intestinal cells, help with gut barrier integrity, but then you get all these other benefits outside of just the gut. You get the energizing effects, the athletic performance effects, the VO2 max improving effects, you get the blood sugar regulation, you get the hypolipidemic effects, you get the kidney protective effects, you get the liver protective effects. So Cordyceps mushroom is definitely a versatile tool to help combat leaky gut. So you guys will see a link to Cordyceps in the video description below, where to purchase Cordyceps. I'm a huge fan. The next leaky gut fix that I had on my list is bone broth. Now, we know that bone broth is a very powerful superfood, but what actually makes bone broth a superfood or a healing modality or therapy? It's because bone broth contains specific collagen peptides and also glutamine and glycine, which each respective have their own benefits, but synergistically, they work really well to provide an anti-inflammatory soothing action on the gut lining. It helps to increase the growth of beneficial bacteria in the gut as well. So these amino acids found within bone broth are very healing and can help to restore a compromised intestinal barrier function. So you can see this study here, leaky gut and autoimmunity, an intricate balance in individuals' health and the disease state. So basically this study highlighted that bone broth is a powerful modality to help combat leaky gut. So bone broth is definitely a versatile tool, can be used in so many different ways. Love to hear your experiences below. If you want to drop a comment below how you use leaky gut, I'd love to hear your experience. Leaky gut fix number 4, a specific type of bile acid or a bile salt known as Tuka. Tuca. I've spoken about Tuka on my channel before. You guys know how much I like this particular supplement to help reverse liver damage, protect the kidneys, protect the brain, protect the eyes, protect many organs, and specifically protect the gut. You can see in this title of the study here, Tuka inhibits intestinal inflammation and barrier disruption in mice with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Tuka again exerts an anti-inflammatory action in the gut, reverses elevated zonulin, and also helps to preserve gut barrier integrity, and also even helps with gallbladder function, bile production, which is also a natural laxative. So Tuka at a dosage range between 250 milligrams to 500 milligrams can work well for most people. And be sure to also bump up your fiber intake when you're using Tuka, as it can have a bit of a laxative effect and help to clear out many of these toxins that are built up in the body. Again, you'll see a link to Tuka in the video description below, where to purchase Tuka. Again, I'm a huge fan of Tuka in terms of its broad spectrum benefits, but then specifically to help address leaky gut. Number 5, we have probiotics and prebiotics. So both of these can help to restore beneficial bacteria in the gut, help to improve the healing potential of these intestinal tight junctions. This study here looks at the beneficial effects of Saccharomyces boulardii, CNCM I745 in clinical disorders associated with intestinal barrier disruption. They highlighted that Saccharomyces boulardii was found to alter the microbial composition of the gut, affecting bacteria known to be associated with diabetes, inflammation, and intestinal permeability. This may have contributed to restoring intestinal barrier function. So you'll see a link to a specific blend of a probiotic and prebiotic product that I actually really like. You'll see a link to that in the video description below. So it's important that we combine both probiotics and prebiotics together, because they, again, have a synergistic action. We're restoring bacteria that has been lost through Roundup, glyphosate, antibiotic use, medications, and help to repopulating those beneficial bacteria. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Be sure to check out all of my other social media platforms, my podcast, my newsletter, my website. Thanks guys for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.